It has been said that addiction is connected to isolation. And that addiction is so pervasive that it convinces you that it really is your companion. In other words, addiction can be so powerful, can be so consuming. If you're not careful, addiction will have you convinced that the addiction is your companion. Now, it was stated, you all, by Dr. Shayla, that addiction evolves out of 5 phases. And the first of those 5 phases is pain. The first of the 5 stages of addiction is pain. In other words, you go through something in your life where pain enters in your heart, and when the pain starts, your heart starts looking for a pain reliever or a painkiller. After pain, there is disassociation. That is, the person who has the pain steps away from relationships with others and relationship with God. And then they use a substance as a mood changer or an emotional enhancer, not realizing that they're disassociating themselves from people that they need and from people that love them. The next step after disassociation is fantasy. I'm still talking about the evolution of addiction. It's fantasy. Fantasy, you all. The person who had the pain, who is now disassociated, enters into a false reality when they are high. And they convince themselves that the reality that is in fact fantasy is actually real. And when they have to face the pain of life, they then escape into the addiction thinking that the fantasy is reality, not knowing that the actual reality is still there, waiting on them to be dealt with when the fantasy finally disappears. After fantasy, the 4th one is the initial act. In other words, the person is so driven by the pain and they cannot escape the fantasy that they immerse themselves in the act of being high so that it becomes a world in and of itself. The last one, he says, you all, is when art imitates life. That is, they get an attitude with you for not minding your own business. Not realizing that what they're involved in is impacting the life of everybody around them and everybody that loves them. When the pain becomes so pervasive that I've convinced myself that life is not fair. There is pain when I go to sleep. There is pain when I wake up. There is pain when I eat my breakfast. There is pain when I eat my lunch. There's pain when I mow my grass. There's pain when I wash my car. What am I supposed to do with the pain? What do I do with the pain, Dr. C? When I'm nice to people and they still talk about me behind my back. What do I do with the pain when I'm still haunted by stuff? Not stuff that I did yesterday, but stuff I did last year. And even though I did it a long time ago, every time I think about it, it still makes me cry. Every time I think about it, it still makes me angry. What am I supposed to do with the pain? And listen, and don't you run up to me, quote no scripture, talking about in 3 days you're going to have a turnaround. It's been 3 months, and I still don't feel no better than what I felt then. What you need is a recovery partner. Somebody who will stand with you when the group is not around. See, you need somebody who will not only stand with you, but will be honest with you when you're about to fall. See, you need somebody to stand with you who's not going to judge you when you're stuck on stupid. You know, all of us get stuck on stupid sometime. Are you hearing me? You need somebody to stand with you who's not going to put your business in the street. And whatever you do, when the struggles of life come, be discerning in how you will choose who you will allow to stand with you. Because everybody you can't count on. Preach, Pastor Davis. God is so confident that he recommends Job again. It's almost like God is messing with the devil. God says, have you considered my servant Job? Now, God knows that he's considered him because he done already messed with him in chapter 1. So God recommends him again. Satan, have you considered my servant Job? Don't miss this now. He's already recommended him in chapter 1. But then he recommends him again in chapter 2. God says, have you considered my servant? Don't miss this now. He's already recommended him in chapter 1. Then he turns around and recommends him again in chapter 2. I want to suggest to you, people of God, that the text is tailored to teach that if you keep going through things and you know you've been faithful, it's not that God is necessarily mad at you. It might be that God is so confident in you that he keeps recommending you to the devil, knowing that you've been designed to deal with it. See, God ain't mad at you. God might be bragging on you. God says, I got a person over there at St. Paul that's so built up in the faith. They know how to keep a licking and keep on ticking. I wish I had somebody in here. You've been feeling bad because other folk ain't going through. Other folk ain't dealing with no struggle. Maybe the reason they ain't going through is because God knows they can't handle it. But God says, I've got somebody who can take the devil's best shot, get up and fight again. Before you let people speak over you, know their issues. Did you hear what I said? Before you let people speak over you, you better know their issues. You better know something about the people you allow to serve in an advisory capacity in your life. Watch this, because more often than not, people will always speak out of a subjective place as a result of their own hurt and pain. Because his woman was a gold digger. He want to convince you your woman is a gold digger. Because her man wasn't no good. She want to tell you that your man ain't no good. Now y'all sitting up by yourself looking at one another talking about, you want to go to the movie with me? Hello, somebody. People will always speak to you